Hello and welcome back to another episode of World of Warcraft Hardcore. My name is Syken and today we are continuing our playthrough with the warrior Syken Stomps on the official servers of Stitches. It is time for some Searing Gorge, which we haven't done so far. I was trying my very best to just get a run in the hinterlands going, nothing worked. Haven't had any luck getting the Thrash Blade so far, so Maraudon Princess Run's not happening either. That, however, would be a big thing if I could finally get one of those runs going. Because it would be such a huge upgrade, to be honest. And yeah, we're basically stuck with the Whirlwind Axe for now, so this is going to be a bit of a painful experience. It would be less painful if we had a better weapon. Much less painful, that is. But we're not playing Wish Your Weapon, we're playing whatever weapon you currently have. And the weapon that we have is not great. You can see we're also just naturally taking quite a bit of damage. That's the problem of not dealing enough damage as a warrior. As a warrior, the core rule is if you deal enough damage, you will never need to fear the damage of the opponents, because you're just killing them fast enough. We have quite a few quests here that will require grinding. Several of these quests, however, we will not be able to do, mainly because there is no one around. Do you want to do the elite quest together? Likely the answer is no, because that is the normal response. No, there we go. See, that is the only person that is in the zone. So, problem solved. We need to play alone, which is okay. I mean, we're good. We're just going to chill all by ourselves. Did a couple of quests in the hinterlands, matter of fact all of them, whilst I was desperately trying to get kind of an elite group growing in the hinterlands. Didn't work out, so I ended up here at the end of the day. If you look at the hinterlands, it's now completely clear. We are 51 on our way to 52. Also started the warrior class quest, which is in the blasted lands, but realized I'm too low. It would take too much time. I needed to be there anyway, so it wasn't like wasted. I did a couple of quest trade-ins, did the first follow-up quest, which was okay, and then basically the next quest was kill 50 enemies before going to the sunken temple. And yeah, that would have taken easily half an hour, and I was like, yeah, no, not for one quest, that's not worth it. So we ended up here in the Searing Gorge. Let's shortly talk about weapons and just what the alternatives are for me at this point. So the biggest challenge with a warrior is you are highly relying on your weapon. So in simple terms, without having a proper weapon, your kills will take longer, and since the utility of a warrior really boils down to kill stuff quicker than it kills you, yeah, I mean, your weapon determines just how successful you are, eh? Of course, there are a couple of other RNG factors in there, such as crits or non-crits, but generally speaking, that's how it works. The Whirlwind Axe, level 40 weapon, blue weapon, exceptionally good for its level, because it is very, very, very slow, which means Mortal Strike and other one-time strikes scale off of a much, much higher base damage of the weapon than it normally would have. And the axe specialization comes with 5% crit. To put that into perspective, if you are playing Berserker stance, then you're essentially paying for 3% crit in an increase of all damage taken by 10%. So that is a bit that is already a trait that people are willing to take. So 5% crit kind of almost equals, if you could pay for that, 2%, 20% extra damage that you would be taking. Just to put it into perspective, of course there is no way that you could do that, but just to put it into perspective how valuable 5% crit are. So that talent in itself, Cruelty, that I took at the very beginning of this playthrough, really paid dividends with the weapon. Massive dividends with the weapons, because a lot of the capabilities of arms just rely on deep wounds. You also generate way more rage if you're critting. So in that sense, that means if you want to play arms, you are very well advised to go with axes for leveling, unless there is a good reason to do anything else. For instance, as a human with sword and mace skill, you do have a proper incentive just from your racials to basically use a different weapon, because then your hit chance for higher level mobs and even level mobs is higher, therefore you're hitting more often, you're critting more often. So then you would essentially achieve something similar via higher level of weapon skills. Okay, so that's the situation where we're in. What could you now do about that situation? So number one, you could go with the Great Axe of Alexander. I even saw it on the auction house. Unfortunately, it is over 100 gold pieces, and I said I don't want to throw 100 gold pieces at the leveling problem just to get kind of a minor improvement in speed. I could get a pocket healer, that's another option, but that also that either would mean I pay them by the hour, which if we're grinding, it's so and so, would potentially be more than 100, would also make it incredibly fast, or I just invite them into the group, but then my weapon isn't good enough to substantiate enough experience, even with sweeping strikes and so on, to feed us in a grind or with quests like this here. Even if I pull 2, 3, 4 mobs the entire time. If you watch my playthrough of my priest, where I did this with Gutimar, he had a warrior that just happened to have the axe in this location, in this very location, and he was reluctant to go for a weapon upgrade at this point in time, because he just didn't want to spend 200 golds for something that lasts for a few levels. So that's really the scenario that you're in. At level 60, you're not going to use Whirlwind Axe or Alexander's Great Axe. That would be ridiculous, just a very bad setup. You would get rid of it immediately. So unless you discount disenchanting value off of it, and yeah, basically reduce it by 5 gold or whatnot for disenchanting, you're kind of left with a tough choice, because you have no other arms weapon at this point that reliably does what this X was doing for many levels, as in giving you a nice little advantage. So what are the other options then, eh? Because you could go into dungeons, right? So yes, I was in Zul'Farrak, which was the highest level dungeon I could have done at this point in time. The only weapon that we've gotten from there was Sengyan, which is a one-hand sword, and again, without being too dramatic, like I leveled off screen, I leveled Sengyan and the Sword of Omen, and I can show you. Granted, this is not Fury Spec, so just add a little bit of speed to it. But here, this is just how it would look like going with two weapons, right? So it wouldn't be Mortal Strike spec, but instead Bloodlust spec. You are typically faster on single target mobs. You see more white hits, yada yada yada. So we're very far away from just the speed that we need. So I think that kind of settles the debate. Don't have permission on this character. Good. So even if you add speed, say you add 30% speed, that would still be not really a great speed. The Threshblade is very different because the Threshblade is yet again one of those weapons that you can easily wear until you're level 60. It's a really good weapon. You can get it enchanted and so on. It's not bad at all. And if we could get our hands on it, that would mean we immediately would respec. So that's the other train of thought. Get a good enough one-hand weapon to then respec. And there are not that many that you can buy at the moment. Threshblade typically outperforms them by quite a margin. But if I could get my hand onto the Threshblade, then that instantly would solve all of the problems. We would be able to, increase our DPS substantially. And by substantially, I mean we're looking at somewhere around the order of magnitude of 30-40% increase in damage, maybe even a little bit more than that. And that would be enough for us to justify respecing. So then a couple of dungeon groups are of course an option, theoretically. I do have one hand and a shield, good enough for a dungeon. We could go with a nice little dungeon, but that would require a group. We don't have that at the moment, so yeah. No bueno. Let me get some food because we just ran out of food, and be right back. Alright, back to the grind. Some way of offsetting it is just getting buffs, and you can see I'm very actively using scrolls and so on. They are cheap, they are silvers, so I just pre-gotten those scrolls, which means all good. I'm not paying auction house prices. I just have gotten them myself. So that's one way of offsetting it. Basically gives you more attack power and therefore more chance to hit, crit damage, more agility. So we're basically circumventing our bad weapon with a couple of buffs. However, your buffs only buff the baseline of your weapon, and if the weapon baseline isn't good, then you still end up with a mediocre kind of product at the end of the day. Or in less elegant words, you can't polish a turret. It is what it is. And at this point, the weapon that we're using is past its prime, let's put it this way. So I'm going to squeeze out as much juice as I get from the Whirlwind Axe. It's just a bit slower. I can't do any big shenanigans with it, but I suppose it's fine. Could have been worse. Yeah. Ooh, that's someone that I would want to kill. Smolder. Lovely. So, does that mean we're giving up? No. We're going to do Searing Gorge, and I will very actively try to get a Maraudon run going. Because a lot of my own leveling speed depends on it. Just look at it. This is my level range, okay? 48 to 54. And I'm not not limiting it to Searing Gorge. I'm not even limiting it to Searing Gorge. Yet nothing pops up. That's really unfortunate. We got 2 people online. Yeah, well, imagine playing an MMO without other players. Okay, so what are we actually farming for? Let's take a look at the quests. We need giant lava spiders, these guys, just killing 20 of them. So whenever we come across one of these bad boys, it's basically go time, charge in, kill it, done. So that's good. We need to kill a lot of the heavy war golems, so that's fine as well. By the way, I need to trade in 1 quest. That is the main quest line. I was about to mention that. We needed these Hearts of Fire, and we got them. So let's trade that in, because there is a follow-up quest that requires us to kill many of the little dwarfs, and there are a couple of dwarfs that we still need to kill here. Blacksmiths in particular, these steam smiths. These guys need to be killed. So that's another thing that needs to be done. Kill a lot of the dark iron dwarfs. I'm starting to camp the steam smiths here because they do have lookout scope that we need, like a drop. Smithing terrain, not a lookout scope, a smithing item. So we'll need that. Many of these pulls are dual pulls, and as you can see, not perfect if your weapon isn't great. So we're dropping lower than you would normally drop. And just need to make sure that we're not accidentally being patrolled upon. No, we're not. We're fine.
Health warning.
So we're going to do those circles to get the smithing tier, and then the thorium plated daggers on top. Then the other requests are stolen spyglasses. These come from the towers, as well as the war golems that we're anyways doing. And let's start with those quests. There are plenty more, but I figured it might Might start with those quests to keep it nice and simple. We're fighting mobs that are below our level, so it's all good in the hood. These guys are not difficult to kill, but like I said, our DPS is still a little bit lacking. Typically we had 15-20 second kill times. Those days are gone, long gone. Now we're like more into the upper 20s, 30 odd seconds. Keep in mind to have a baseline. The paladin time, which is the slowest class, was 40 to 50 seconds per mob. You know what? Might as well put up a timer, because why not? Consider myself interested. That other druid guy here is going for the smith as well. There you go. You can see this is now contested spawn. Druid. That rare is down there. Don't want to go there. Good. Let's start. A couple of seconds need to be added. Good, that's one kill. Last one was surprisingly fast. And we can see how it already starts to slow down. Mind you, these guys aren't necessarily like super high level. Good, that's 2 kills in 50 seconds, so 25. I was pretty accurate with my assessment. And these are green mobs, so for all intents and purposes we should be killing them off relatively quick. That one was 30 seconds. War golems have a lot of armor, so we're reducing it after being tapped down by 720 armor. Things are looking much better. Yeah, but the war golems, for instance, take a long time. So these take even longer than 30 seconds. Yeah, you can see just how much the weapon has fallen off. Say we've done those 4 in 2 minutes, give and take, okay? Let's just kind of call it even here. So that's 30 seconds a mob, where we used to kill in 15 seconds a mob. And keep in mind, this downtime here, the drinking and eating, is just added on top of it. So there is no way that we get that time back. Which means, yeah, the weapon is currently struggling. It's a bit of a struggle. It's not like terrible, but keep in mind there are still 10 levels and the situation doesn't change in those 10 levels. This is basically what it is. There isn't any like major grade axe drop for a two-handed weapon that is substantially better, other than Lord Alexander's, which is a random drop. And yeah, I don't want to sound like a random drop would be a good idea to base your hopes on that. Good. Let me finish this here for now. And we're fast forwarding the process for you. Alright, we got a couple of quests done. So the big golems are finally over. I also got the smithing to year, which we were looking for, and we got all of the daggers for forging the shaft, which is for that main kind of storyline. We're now at the elite part of the storyline where we need to grab a symbol of Ragnaros, and that's why I earlier asked if there's anyone willing to help. And since there's no one else here, the answer might just be it's not happening. This is a great upgrade for me. It's 12 strengths and 4 stamina and massive armor upgrade. Super good. Not surprising because these guys here, we had them for like 30 odd levels. We got another drop quest, which is the outdoor key that goes all the way down to there. And didn't I forget about something? I was so sure there was another quest that we needed to trade in. Maybe I've already traded it in. Anyways, let's move on. Next up, I think, instead of lamenting that we can't do the elite quest, let's focus on the lava spiders and get the lookout spyglasses. That's important. On the side, we're just going to kill taskmasters and slave masters, both of them, or slavers. Both of them are nice little additions. So these guys here drop spider meat, white spider meat, also highly undervalued resource, because that can generate the best raid food, or the normal raid food. Not the best. The best raid food are chimera chops, and they are very hard to get. But you wouldn't go into a normal raid with that. You need to be deep into the AQ40 quest line and kind of do the cooking part of that quest line as well. Yeah, but that's nothing that we need to do today, or can even do today. So chimera chops are off the plate, but 12 stamina buff food is typically the way to go. That is typically the way to go, and in order to get that, we can either do those white spider meats for spider sausages, or the tender wolf meat for wolf steaks, or the big giant eggs for the giant scrambled omelette. All three are equally good because they give 12 stamina, and that's really what you're looking for. Yeah, and the rest pretty much is self-explanatory. We want as much of that white spider meat as we can get, because it will be used for our raiding characters, and maybe also used for this character in the future if we make it to 60 and actually go for raid. Something to look forward to. I also got quite a bit of equipment already in the bank that I've either gotten from the guild, because I'm leveling a warrior and they are in very high demand, as the mortality rate of them is unsurprisingly to you, the mortality rate is like massive. So yeah, you'll typically get a bit of a head start there. And I also was lucky and got a couple of drops from Dire Maul North, which I already funneled into this character, because that's a run where you don't need to participate. It's a level 60 dungeon. I could never do that on this character. But if you do it in a tribute way, you get the tribute chest at the end, and that allows you to essentially get like high level equipment, even though you typically wouldn't qualify for it. A little bit of a cheeky way around that. So that's something to look forward to once we are kind of mid-50s. So I think the earliest item that I do have is 55, and then it goes up all the way to 58, at which point I should have all of the current items that I prepared. I actually like killing these spiders. The spider meat is dropping very frequently, so I'm getting XP, I'm getting a quest on top of that, so even more XP, and we're getting raid food. Like that's triple value out of it. And we're getting a bit of silk on top of it. These things here, specifically iron web spider silk, very useful. Very useful. Okay, so we need to kill 20, but I should not forget to also visit these towers, because that's where the spyglass is coming from, that I also wanted to get. Spiders also seem like they have not that many hit points, so that's a great type of enemy that we could get. I wish we could do that. I wish we could do the elite parts of the quests here, because there are quite a few that we could be doing. What the Flux is one. Then wanted what the Flux and wanted Overseer Maltorius, both of that is elite, and the Flame Chasing is elite, so that's 3 quests. Let's see, has there been any change? Do you still need the Hinterlands elite quests? Likely the answer is no. I can already foresee this. Good. Then second question is, would you be up for a Maraudon Princess run with Stuart once he comes online? That's maybe my chance to get a better weapon. That should have the highest priority. That should have the highest priority. Good. One more kill for the Dark Iron Lookouts. Let's just get that stupid Lookout Spyglass. Good. We potentially, by the way, let's take that quest. We potentially do have. Okay, will do. Looking for 2 more. DPS and heal for Princess Mara run. Let's see if we can manage one. That would not be too bad. That would not be too bad. Alright, let's fast forward this part here where I'm trying to do the spiders and the lookout. I think talked about it enough. Alright, so a couple of developments. Number one, I got 4 out of 5 people just in air quotes need a healer, and then we can do a Maraudon run. Second update, I got all of the spiders, and I also got the lookout drop, which is quite handy dandy. So that means all we need now is basically killing the dwarves, and then we're pretty much done here. After that, there isn't that much left, so got the job opportunity with the dwarves, which we're currently doing, right? Let me see. I mean, that elite step, not soloable as a warrior. I don't see a way of doing that. Yeah. Well, there goes my mage. He just joined a different group. It helps them. Which means the Maraudon run is likely going to happen, if it happens, much later. And yeah, it is what it is. That's just a life on an empty server. You're one group, the moment that something goes wrong, things are not working in your favor anymore. So, what are we going to do here? Let's go back to the train of thought with... oh yeah, we got the Incinerators. How could I have forgotten about that? That's definitely a quest that we can still do and should do. Might as well do that next before we do anything else. Got the Taskmasters and Slavers, that's fine. But let's do the Incinerators, because that indeed is a real quest here. Might as well also trade in the key quest that we've gotten, and then we can hand in kind of 5 quests. But I suppose that's good enough. It's a bit sad that we can't do more, but I just really can't solo the content. The elites are definitely too difficult to solo. With retaliation I could like get 1 down, but what's the point in retaliating if afterwards you can't kill the second one, and the chance of the first one dropping it is minor at best. I rather keep it for shield wall or a difficult pull. And we're now going to the dinosaurs, so let me do that. Good. Arrived at the dinosaurs. These guys are nice to farm. Number one, their scales on a populated server go for quite a bit of money for fire resist gear. On a server where the only guild that needs the Incinerar scales has hundreds of them available, and there's no other guild raiding. They don't go for much, but these also have a forced respawn, so just in terms of intense spawns where you can just kill and kill and kill, this here is not a bad spot to begin with. That's not a bad spot to begin with. And their fireball casting time is not bad either, because it means that during that time they're not doing anything worse, like hitting you. And you can always pummel the fireballs. So they are casters without mana. And as such they also have relatively low armor, relatively low hit points. So I can see why people are chain farming them. We need 20 of these bad boys. And there's really not much more to it than just literally going from one to the next. In previous playthroughs I combined these with the group that I used in order to do the What the Flux quest inside. That this time is of course not possible because we are all by ourselves, and therefore the killing also goes a little bit slower. Killing quests with like a full group, it's crazy. It's like crack. Not that you're getting a lot of experience from the kills, you only get like 80. But the speed of it is phenomenal. You can basically split up 3 and 2 and go ham. You're also never at the risk of really getting injured, and the main experience comes from killing 20. So yeah, you're done super fast with that. Typically with a leveling partner, I'm doing the entirety of Searing Gorge, including all of the elite quests, in like a bit more than an hour. Given that that is currently not possible, it just takes longer. It just takes longer. Good. Let me fast forward the rest of this cave for you. Alrighty, we are done with the Incendors. And I think it's time to again buff ourselves. And do the remaining job opportunity kind of kills. Brings us to here. That's the easiest way of doing it. A couple of double pulls here. So I'll need to pull back because they are also running. The biggest problem is right there would be my target. And boy, am I tempted to take the plans. But yeah, it's just not working. We're never going to be able to do that. Oh, Taskmaster instantly spawns, that's nice. This elite here, Overseer Malchoria, is super hardcore elite. He is very, very, very strong. Okay, let's try that again. Good. Come here, you pricks. And since there is no one here that could help with the Overseer, there's also no point in trying to do it really. Like, this is the extent of everybody online. We already got Azeroth. I could ask. Do we want to do the elite quests together. Of course. AFK from and can't answer. In a slapstick way, this is just illustrating the point. I thought long and hard about the release of the new servers, also called Fresh, and why Blizzard would go for that. And as a company, their main metric of success is player engagement. So essentially, they forgot what they were saying like a year and a half ago, where hardcore is always quote-unquote fresh, because you do have perpetual outflow of funds, and therefore new players would be coming in, and it's a revolving door. And that's true. That is actually how it had been prior to Fresh. There was a core of players that really wanted to play for the long haul, but then there were like numerous people that just wanted to try it out, and really after experiencing the journey to 60 and maybe their first CG run, maybe even one run in AQ20 or a Molten Core, then that was their target. Well, that was fine. The journey was concluded, and I don't mind. That's a fair approach. But for each of these guys, a new one popped up. It was to a degree Groundhog Day. All of the people that were regularly dying, that just for them raiding would have not been a long-term viable game mode. All of them were essentially replaced by new people coming in. So back to the original question, what happened with Fresh and what's my thought process? So Blizzard clearly cares about the engagement, meaning when they come up with an idea, I assume that they will need to report to their management whether or not that idea was good, and that report only focuses on the idea and not on the opportunity costs. And it's the age-old question, when you as a company do have a product, how do you factor in cannibalization? And the naysayers of something new can sometimes kill an entire company. Kodak is a great example of that. They were, matter of fact, the first ones that came up with digital photography, but at the point in time when they did that in 1994, I think, they were one of the 50 most valuable companies on the planet, because they were selling tons and tons of their film for classical analog photography. So they made the decision that they wouldn't want to cannibalize and essentially stayed with the product, and then someone else came up with digital photography. The first digital handies, mobile phones came up, mainly iPhone and a couple of the other competitors, and then it was over. So long-winded way in saying I'm very well aware that just staying with your product and arguing it from this perspective does have risks. However, the classical hardcore environment before that Fresh server came even out wasn't huge to begin with. Like, we're talking about moderately populated servers, only 2 servers in Europe, 2 in America, and 1 in Asia. That's not really a large population to begin with. And frankly speaking, the servers did struggle from time to time over the holiday periods and over summer. People were just not that interested in doing it, so it already didn't feel like we're not super interested. Come to me then, and we can try to do what the Flux and the Overseer. Anyways, the point that I'm making is, I do understand why you care for engagement, and why you would want to look at those metrics. I'm not naive that plays a big role. However, in the hardcore environment, I think building up a new server and already dividing a small group isn't necessarily the way to go. You could have implemented game features like a self-found guild to appease the streamers, and others could have followed. You could have implemented features like a buff that does prevent you from participating in any raids that are not quote-unquote phase 1, and because those were the arguments, right? So release of content, play it from the ground. You can't like do everything, and you could have simply done that in the existing game environment with existing ecosystem, and with a self-found, respectively guild-found nature. Everybody would have won. The servers would have stayed populated, streamers would have been happy, and you would have gotten an engagement. Instead, they opted to do the like cheap way, as I would call it, and just put in new servers. And here's the problem, using Kodak as the reference. If you do have a product like Kodak and someone comes up with a new idea and says, you know, let's try that, and you realize that both can't live together, then the one way of kind of solving that is also to simply try in a moderate step to find a compromise. But Blizzard didn't do that. They went for the all-out approach to kind of use the new shiny toy, and their line of argumentation was, you know what, how about we're just putting in new servers, then everybody can grind madly and we get a lot of playtime and engagement out of it, and that's fine. But what they did in return, and I think they did not appreciate it, is everybody who played on the old servers with sometimes hundreds of hours of investment were now left with a situation where the ecosystem of the server no longer works, because many of the other players that used to play here are no longer here, so the world itself doesn't feel as alive. But that's not even a problem. People that are leveling will get a much worse experience. If I wouldn't be like committed and resilient to these types of things, this would be a horrible experience. I want to do a dungeon, and that's the entire list of people that I can play with, so that's not a very pleasant experience to begin with. So in a sense, you do have an environment where people are very, very, very adamantly punished for basically not going to the new shiny thing, and on top of it, the raiding ecosystem, without going too deep into it, requires that you farm a lot of resources. It just requires you to do all of that. It's not an optional thing. When you go into a raid, everybody has a flask, and that is 40 times whatever the flask cost is, oftentimes 30, 40 herps, and a couple of other resources as well, even more, 50-ish herps. So you're looking at like what, 40 times 50, that's 2,000 herps that need to be herped for a raid. Like that is just a bare minimum. If you add all of the other consumables into it, it's way more. So you end up with huge requirement to farm all of that, and it's a great opportunity since not all of the resources, and that's why the game is actually, relatively speaking, well developed. Not all of the consumables are high level. Low level characters could participate in farming it and basically making money out of it. So with that breaking away, because there are no low levels or very limited low levels, you cannot really continue to raid as much. Okay, careful here, seriously careful. Our exit path is the bridge. If we need to run, I cleared it already. The boss is hard, very hard, so you need to zap him and blind one of the ads. Then we kill both ads and then overseer. Okay. Let me get rage mobs. You can see the kill speed, right? Night and day. All right. So far it works out well. Okay, here stat food, that is fine. Rage mob. All right, let's go. "16 seconds polymorph. Holy shit. He's playing it well. He's playing it very well. Close one. Well played. Very well indeed.
I'm out of range.
Okay. Let's go out this way. It's faster. Are you on the quest with the fire hearts? Okay, maybe we can do the other quest with him together as well. Let me show you where to get it. We will just power you through the first 2 quest steps, and then you are on the elite step just like me, and we can do it together. Okay, well, let's do exactly that. Fast forward for you. Alright, so we traded in our quests. Noticeable upgrade, we got plate legs, and as you can see, we got a nice little fiery look now, thanks to doing all of the quests for the Thorium Brotherhood. Now it's time for us to do the elites here. These guys are no joke. So it's worthwhile just going for defensive stints. Couple of buffs to ourselves. Rogue eats up, which is good. I like to see that. I'll just tank with Thunders, and as much as we can focus on killing these guys, we should be okay. Just don't need to get any ads. Lucky, we got it right away. Rest of the quest is fast XP, so that is why I wanted to do it. And as always, like, elite quests give so much experience. We're like 75% in, and we need that XP.
For the Alliance. Have a good one. See you later. Can I help you? For the Alliance. Looking for something specific?
He should summon the stupid staff.
You need something? Be careful. Hey there. See you around. See you later.
Now we can complete it. Now we can pick up the quest.
What can I do for you? You need something? See you later.
And yeah, that sucks. So we're basically Torch of Retribution. Where is it? Am I tripping? We need to.
I supply only the
There we go.
best.
Now we can speak with the squire,
See you around.
and he gives us Set Them Ablaze, which is the actual quest that I was looking for. Good. Time to indeed set them ablaze, and once we're done with that, we should be done with Siri Gorge as well. It was a long episode and a bit of a sour mood due to all of those topics like fresh server. That could really bring the mood down. But overall, I'm still jovial. Things are going good. Other than not finding like dungeon groups. Let's see. Nice little Zapperino. Good, and we're going to do that 4 times until such time that all of the towers are gone. And then that is the quest. Easy money. And we're going to get treasure, quite a bit of treasure actually, out of it as well. Don't tell me this guy leashes all the way to here. Wow, what a massive leash. Yeah, with the rogue, that whole quest becomes... That whole yeah, the Zap hurt his feelings, that's true. With Rogue, that whole quest becomes a bit easier because they just sneak in, do it, and are done with it. So we need 2 more towers, and then we're good. Fast forward for you guys. Alright, so we got a nice main hand axe here that we're getting. And then we're going to do the horde of the dragon fly. And we are getting a couple of items. Goblin landmine, which we already have, but that's not bad. And this here for the next zone. That's pretty much it. Bit of trash on top of it. Alright, thanks a lot for the group. I assume you do not need hinterlands leads. And that's it from my end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and see you on the next episode. Bye bye.